IPU involves more than 40,000 parliamentarians all over the world. Men and women dedicate their lives to defend freedoms, democracy, the state of law. It's time to the international community and to the IPU recognize the role that each one deserves. Each year, we will give this award to one parliamentarian.
my planet.
My Parliament, my planet.
Nutia.
I'm from the Parliament of India.
Je représente le Parlement français.
I am from Ireland.
From Zimbabwe.
Diputada de México.
Du Canada.
Du Parlement gabonais.
I am a member of the New Zealand Parliament.
Iran.
In the Schweiz.
In Egypt.
Je suis député du Parlement mauricien.
Of the Republic of Fiji Islands.
De l'Assemblée nationale du Sénégal.
From the Kingdom of Tonga.
Parlementaire du Tchad.
Representing Finnish Parliament.
The Kingdom of Eswatini.
I am a member of Parliament of Ukraine.
Botswana. Bangladesh.
The Parliament of Uganda.
Suriname.
Je représente Madagascar.
Zambia.
Al Parlamento di Uruguay.
South Sudan.
Centrafrique.
Sono la vicepresidente della Commissione Esteri della Camera dei Deputati italiana.
We are amongst the most vulnerable when it comes to climate change.
L'impact, il est plutôt à travers le dérèglement climatique.
Serious cyclone issues.
Acidification of the ocean, sea level rising.
ما این سالهای اخیر با یک موضوعی مواجه بودیم به نام گرد و غبار و ریزگرد.
La mer monte chaque année de 2 à 5 cm.
We also have huge issues around car dependency.
Ukraine's industry still produced many greenhouse gas emissions.
Con tormentas, lluvias, inundaciones o sequías.
Frost oder auch zu viel Regen, Überschwemmungen.
Le réchauffement est 2 fois plus important que les autres pays de la planète.
We are expecting heat waves, sandstorms.
Le flash flood, comme on dit dans le jargon.
Our farming season has changed.
The winters have become warmer.
La stagione sciistica in alcuni luoghi non esiste più.
5 months without rain in a poor country like South Sudan that is still emerging out of war.
Ça détruit les champs, les plantes. The internal migration is happening rapidly.
Over thousands and thousands of people from Turkana in Kenya and also the Pokot from the Kenyan side are now in Uganda looking for livelihoods and also pasture and water for the animals. The climate change is for real.
Les parlementaires ont pu légiférer sur la question à travers des lois sur l'environnement.
It's up to have 51% carbon reduction by 2030.
Éduquer les gens, premièrement, à protéger l'environnement.
Instead of using personal vehicles, we all now just get in single buses and go to where we're going.
By using the e-office suite, we have turned everything into virtual. And by doing that, we have turned paperless. And that's one aspect.
México se comprometió en el Acuerdo de París a tener el 36% de las energías limpias para 2026.
At the global level, Fiji was a past president of COP23.
Nous avons une politique pour combattre l'érosion de nos plages.
Devenir complètement carboneutre d'ici 2050.
We also work with NGOs.
Et puis un ensemble d'éléments qui visent à la fois la partie de la gestion durable de l'eau, l'alimentation saine et durable.
We're looking at planting 1 million trees by 2023, which is this year.
Les plastiques sont interdits maintenant au Sénégal. We have been able to put half the amount of oil heated houses.
You have protected areas and national parks.
When you do a major project, it has to be environmental friendly.
Parliaments play a key role, as parliaments is where the discussion starts.
Solo con una grande pianificazione, una grande volontà si possono evitare gli effetti peggiori del cambiamento climatico e adattarci strada facendo.
We hope that other parliamentarians around the world will take the same approach.
My parliament,
My planet,
Our future.
Mon Parlement,
Ma planète,
notre engagement.
notre combat.
mi parlamento, mi planeta.
Nuestros hijos.
My parliament,
my planet,
our planet.
our family.
My parliament,
My planet,
our beautiful blue ocean Pacific.
My parliament,
Mein Planet.
Notre mieux-être.
My parliament.
ma planète,
Our dream.
Notre engagement.
Our life.
Il mio Parlamento,
Minun planeettani.
Notre devoir.
Our environment.
Our people.
Our diversity.
Mon Parlement.
My planet.
My parliament,
My planet.
Notre devenir.
morning. Bom dia. Buenos dias. Bonjour. I'm trying to achieve your attention, and this way we will begin our session of the Governing Council. Dear colleagues, a little bit of silence, please, because we have in front of us a long day of work. We will begin this meeting of the Governing Council by the agenda item number 5 that you left behind, the interim report by the Secretary General on the activities of the IPU. I remember this is not the report of the year, it's just an interim report, and I will give the floor to Secretary General to make his presentation. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning to all of you. I know that most of you are focused on the very important business of the day today, which is the election of a new IPU President. In order to fill the gap between now and 9:30, when the process will start here in the Council, I just want to use the opportunity to quickly present a few highlights of the IPU's activities in the past 9 months. I hasten to say that this is just an interim report. Normally, as per practice, I would present a full comprehensive report in March 2024. That will also be an assessment of the impact of the work that the IPU has done over the 12-month period. So today, my duty is just to indicate some highlights in the activities that the IPU has been able to carry out over the past 9 months. And this complements very well what the President mentioned in his report on the activities that he has carried out in recent months. So you also will see that a number of IPU statutory bodies will be presenting their reports, which should be seen as part and parcel of the activities of the IPU over the past 9 months. When we look at the statistics, I don't know if we have the PowerPoint there, you'll see that we have carried out, the IPU has gone out to some 12 parliaments during the period under review, where a number of activities have been carried out, 32 of those activities, showing that the IPU is doing everything to be closer to the people. We have been able also to organize events at the international and regional level. Some 47 activities have been carried out. Let me point out that a written report has been circulated to you. If you haven't received that report, my colleagues will be pleased to give that to you. I also want to single out the traction that our refreshed communication strategy is having, with a substantial increase in web traffic, in renewed interest in the various social media platforms of the IPU. The statistics are there, which you can consult very well. Let me again stress the prominence of the Parliament for Planets campaign on climate change, which is gaining traction, and we encourage you to continue to be engaged in that campaign. When it comes to promoting human rights, later today you will be receiving a full report from the mechanism that you have put in place to examine abuses of human rights of parliamentarians, and that will be presented by the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, so I need not go into the details, but I want to stress the importance of dialogue that we emphasize when we deal with human rights cases. Our work is premised on dialogue and consultation with all the parties concerned in the cases concerned, so as to achieve a reasonable and satisfactory solution to all the cases. And in this regard, I would like to thank the authorities of the Parliament of Iraq. I don't know if they're in this room, because recently the Committee on Human Rights of Parliamentarians has been able to travel to Iraq to examine the case of one member of parliament that is in jail there. Earlier this week, we did present to you the indicators of democratic parliaments, which is a tool that we have developed for you to assess the performance of your parliament in order to make improvement. So I don't dwell on that. I also don't dwell on the youth campaign, which is intended to mobilize greater parliamentary action towards more youth in parliament in the context of the IPU's youth movement, which we did present yesterday in this particular room when we presented the report on youth participation in parliaments. I also would like to congratulate the Parliament of Vietnam, I don't know if they're in the room, for hosting the 9th Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians, which was a huge success, Mr. President. You were there yourself. The attendance was at a record high, showing how youth issues are very important to the parliamentary community. I also want to single out the work that we do for boosting the capacity of parliaments through our Center for Innovation in Parliaments, which carries out work on thematic issues, but also at regional level. And over the past several months, we have had a series of hubs that are meeting to look at various aspects of innovative functioning of parliaments regarding standards, digital tools, openness, how to manage parliamentary records, and many others. I commend that into your hands. Let me also reiterate what I have said here about the work that we have done with the Association of Secretaries General of Parliament. We have been able to produce a guide on digital transformation, which I believe has been circulated to all of you, and we ask you and urge you to use those very judiciously. Mr. President, let me just say a few words about what the IPU is doing to mobilize the parliamentary voice in global fora, including in the United Nations. And in the past 6 months or 9 months, we have been robustly involved in the Universal Periodic Review process, encouraging parliaments to be part of the process, organizing seminars for the participation of parliamentarians whose countries are under review by the Universal Periodic Review process at the United Nations. We did earlier this week present the handbook on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. We have organized a host of seminars to inform members and create awareness of the importance of fighting discrimination against women. And of course, since we are talking of the SDGs this week, I just want to mention the robust engagement of the IPU and Parliament with the voluntary national review process that is carried out in the context of the high-level political forum for sustainable development. Mr. President, let me just conclude this report to once again lay emphasis on something that I understand is very crucial to you: accountability, transparency and accountability. Earlier this week, you approved, I think it was on Wednesday, you approved 2 key instruments of accountability for the organization: the anti-harassment policy, the policy against harassment, including sexual harassment for all. You also improved the code of conduct for governance officials, that is for officials in this organization that hold office on behalf of the organization. These 2 documents are key in the process of strengthening transparency and accountability within the IPU, including the other tools that you have previously approved, the data protection policy, and we hope in the coming weeks to help design a policy on sustainability, all in order to make sure that we are accountable, we walk the talk, as they say. Earlier this week also, yesterday I think, you received a report from my colleagues and from you all on what you, as the members of the organization, are doing to implement the outcomes of IPU's deliberations. And I think the special segment that we held yesterday was an eye-opener, showing that many countries are actually paying attention to the implementation of the IPU's outcomes. So in conclusion, Mr. President, I will reiterate what I have said in the Executive Committee about the importance of digital transformation. We have a note that we have prepared that is circulating to you, explaining what the IPU is doing to be in tune with current trends when it comes to harnessing digital technology for the improvement of parliamentary processes. We are doing that in the IPU itself, going virtual for our meetings, going hybrid for our meetings, looking at how we can improve upon document management, making access to data more, I would say, making data accessible to all parliaments and partners. So I commend that document, that report to you. We will pursue this digital transformation because this is very much part of the strategy that you have adopted for the IPU. Mr. President, I would like now to ask you to kindly ask your colleagues to take note of this report. It is not meant to be adopted by the Governing Council. It is for information purposes. And I promise that in March, as per practice, I will present a more comprehensive and impactful report for consideration by the Governing Council. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, also for all the activities that it was possible to implement during the last 6 months. As Secretary General expressed, we don't need to vote, it's just for information, but of course, if any delegation wish to ask a question or to do a comment, I will give the floor to anyone that raises the hand. Burkina Faso, please, you have the floor. 2 minutes, no more, otherwise it will be difficult for us, the management of the time. Please, 2 minutes, sir.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Thank you very much, President. With your permission, I just wanted to mention something on behalf of my group from Burkina Faso, which I lead. I wanted to thank the organising committee of this 147th IPU Assembly and perhaps also congratulate the Secretariat and the Secretary General for his leadership as part of the IPU's administrative work around this 147th Assembly. I'd also, President, like to express a wish that the resolutions and recommendations that have been taken at this 147th session of the Assembly be turned into action that will enable us to bring peace, justice, and serenity to the entire world. I'd also like to applaud and thank the Secretary General for his leadership on that specifically, on behalf of the delegation of Burkina Faso. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Merci beaucoup, cher collègue.
Thank you very much, colleague, for that statement.
Bangladesh. 2 minutes, s'il vous plaît. 2 minutes, no more, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear IPU President, I think very shortly you will retire from your job, and the Secretary General of the IPU and the distinguished guests on the podiums and others. Thank you, all of my colleagues from the different zone of the IPU membership countries. I am from Bangladesh. I am congratulating you all as because you performed, Mr. President, you performed a very nice office job, everything in the IPU, because we had the opportunity to host a IPU conference in Bangladesh, you know. We are there and I am one of the person that who was in the organizing area. So from Bangladesh, our delegation is very much pleased to have this hospitality by the government of Angola, and the Luanda city is very nice, and the conference is holding by IPU here. Really, the choosing of this place is no doubt a very good choice. So So the port city and the nearest to the coastal belt of Atlantic, really we have the opportunity to see the Atlantic here. And we all of our of the members of the delegation from the different areas of the world, really this organization, a prestigious organization in the world for ensuring democratic exercise to whole of the democratic country where no conflict is available because of the democratic exercise. There is some violence, some of the movement everywhere in the world, in our country also. So I should not continue my speech more. Thank you all again, and I am expecting that the new president will be coming here, and the Secretary General is a very efficient guy and who is conducting this session in a very nice way, and he's delivering everything is a nice way, and we are already very much satisfied. Thank you all.
Dear colleagues, thank you also for your intervention. And now, Côte d'Ivoire et après Brésil. Côte d'Ivoire, c'est là.
Sir, on behalf of the Côte d'Ivoire delegation, I would like to thank the Secretary General for his leadership and commend him, and also for the wonderful work he's doing at the leadership position of this organization. Indeed, this should lead to concrete action to benefit our populations. That's the remit of the organization, and we'd like to express our satisfaction. These resolutions should not just remain in a drawer. They need to be truly implemented in the field. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, chers collègues.
Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to give the floor to Brazil, please. Well, the Brazilian delegation would like to congratulate the Secretary General and the Secretariat for all the resolutions that have been adopted, and as well the President, Mr. Eduardo Pacheco, to bring more agility, more efficiency, and demonstrating that IPU has to have a more present and contemporary position. And we all have to agree that, and are concerned that we should work in this path, making sure that IPU is more and more efficient. And so this report from the Secretary General saying that the digital tools will help us improve our work and improve the work of our parliaments and of these institutions, certainly in line of the modernity that we all defend. The reasons why I also take this opportunity to congratulate Your Excellency, Mr. President, for all the work you have done and your work that you did together with the Secretary General. Angola has welcomed us openly, kindness, hospitality, and we, coming from Brazil and the Brazilian delegation here present and state from Bahia, for example, we have a great affinity with the African people, in special with Angola. So thank you, Angola. And we acknowledge the wonderful IPU that we have here today. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to the Brazilian delegation for your attendance and the kind words. Thank you very much. And I give the floor to Bolivia.
Thank you very much indeed. President, Secretary General, good morning. Good morning to you all. It is important to express thanks. Angola has treated us very well. We've received a wonderful welcome from the Angolan people. But I believe that the work at this session is touching an end. We didn't solve the problem of the emergency item, and time is marching by, yet people are suffering. And I don't think we should fail to have a tangible result. I hope that these pressing matters will be solved in the future, and I hope that we can think about a change in the rules for emergency items. This two-thirds majority means we'll never be able to resolve emergency items properly. We must defend women's rights. We must protect children. So we need truly to ensure that human rights are respected for all human beings. So we should forget our political stripes. And I would like to call on the new president to solve the matter of the emergency item. Look at the assassination of people living in the Gaza Strip.
Thank you. I will just tell to our colleagues from Bolivia that we open until the end of November a phase that all delegations can present amendments to our rules. So you are free to present one amendment to change the way we vote. Everyone is free. It's the right moment to do it, especially when people feel that we need to change something. Until the end of November, it's what we open. Now, Malta, and it is the last one, then Secretary General will answer, of course, because we needed to proceed to the election.
Good morning, Mr. President, dear General Secretary, dear friends. Since, Mr. President, this is your last assembly you are presiding, on behalf of the Maltese delegation, I would like to thank you for your sterling work you and your team did during the past 3 years. I am sure that the new elected president will continue to work on the same lines. My last thought also, I would like to thank all our Angolan friends for the way they manage to put forward also this conference, this assembly. Well done and keep it up. And thank you for hosting us, dear friends from Angola.
Thank you. It is the last one, please, Portugal.
Chair, President, Mr. Secretary General, on behalf of the Portuguese delegation and as head of my delegation, I'd like to also state that for us, Portugal, for our parliament, and for the sovereign state institutions, it was an honor to have the MP Eduardo Pacheco as president of the IPU. Today, you're ending your mandate. Would like to thank you and congratulate for the way you run the IPU, brought more prestigious, more greatness to these institutions. Of course, we wish you to go on working for the IPU, taking advantage of the experience you gained, and I'm sure we all will gain. Congratulations, and whoever is going to be elected follows the example of Eduardo Pacheco, who really implemented the mandate and did a great job. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much for the support that I received from the Portuguese delegation in the last 3 years.
General, Angola, Mamma Mia, because we needed to go ahead with the election process, but Madam Speaker, please, Angola.
Well, thank you, President, thank you. I would also like to, on behalf of the Angolan delegation, to thank, in particular, the President, Eduardo Pacheco, for all the cooperation, availability that we had, and for helping us organizing this assembly. First, we were a little bit scared because this was a new challenge, a huge challenge to organize this assembly, but thanks to your support, it was possible. So thank you, Mr. President. I would like to thank you, the President of the IPU, and through you, all the IPU Secretariat as well, all the colleagues here in Angola that have helped us organize this wonderful event. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. But it's up to us to thank you, your hospitality, competence, and engagement of Angola to reach the success of this assembly in Luanda. Thank you very much. It's not to the IPU, but thank to Luanda, Angola, and the National Assembly of Angola. And now, Mr. Secretary General, you have the floor, finally.
President, nothing much to add. I just want to acknowledge the comments that have come from the floor. I acknowledge the recommendations that have been made following the presentation of this interim report, and you can be sure that they have not fallen on deaf ears. My colleagues and I will be paying particular attention to all those comments as we work together to improve upon the performance of the IPU. So I don't have much to add apart from that. I know we are pressed for time, Mr. President, and we may just need to move on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General, for all the commitment of the Secretariat also to achieve the success of IPU and especially this assembly. Before we go to the point 16, we have the point 15. This is something easy to understand. And the point 15 is the appointment of 2 internal auditors for 24. Is one of our rules that the Governing Council appointed 2 internal auditors, and until now we have received the following candidatures: Mrs. Glover Rowell from Bahamas and Mr. Andries Grefroy from Belgium. We have 2 candidates for 2 positions. If there is no opposition, we can accept it by acclamation. Is it possible? So we have the internal auditors. It's a hard task. I wish them all the luck and competence to do the job. And finally, we will go to the point 16, election of the President of IPU. So, the election is of the next President for the period 23-26. And the election will be in accordance with our rules. And the deadline to accept candidatures was 9 a.m. yesterday morning. And we received 4 candidatures. Mrs. Adji Kanouté of Senegal received on 10 of June. Mrs. Catherine Ara of Malawi received on 15 of June. Mrs. Tulia Exxon from Tanzania, candidature received on 16 of June. And Mrs. Maura Agi of Somalia, candidature received on 18 August. All the letters they sent to us were circulated to all of you, and we identify also to help the process that we should have 2 tellers from the Executive Committee and also observers from all the candidates when to accompany the process. The tellers from the Executive Committee and from different geopolitical groups are Mrs. Eriksson from Sweden and the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies of Uruguay, Sebastian Andujar from Uruguay itself. So we have the 2 tellers that was appointed by the Executive Committee. Then Senegal, Mrs. Kanouté proposed as observer to the process Mavik Dayan. Then Mrs. Owara from Malawi, Victor Buzandva. Tanzania, Mrs. Tulia Exxon proposed Mrs. Esther Anyakun. And from Mrs. Agi of Somalia, Mr. Mohamed Nadif. So we have the observers from all the candidatures that will be if there is no opposition from the governing council. No opposition, so it is. I will give the floor to the Secretary General to explain the process, and after it, we will give the floor to the 4 candidates that will have 5 minutes to address the governing council and this way to present themselves. To explain the process, Secretary General, if you wish to say something, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a note that has been circulated to all members of the Council. I believe you all have that note that sets out the voting procedure for the election of the IPU President. Mr. President, as you have just pointed out, we have 4 candidates in the race for the presidency of the IPU, and we want to say that the statutory provisions state that the elections take place in the governing council by secret ballot, and we have now set in motion the process for voting. The Secretary of the Assembly, Ambassador Philip, will, after the candidates have presented themselves to the governing council, the Secretary of the Assembly, Ambassador Philip, will proceed in alphabetical order to call each member parliament attending the IPU 47th Assembly with voting rights. And it is stated, it has to be very clear to all of us, that each member of the IPU, that is, each member parliament of the IPU, shall be represented on the governing council by 3 parliamentarians, provided that its representation includes both men and women. Single gender delegations will be limited to just 1 member. So my colleague, when she calls the member parliaments to come and cast their votes, will announce the number of votes that they are entitled to on account of the composition of their delegation. Each member parliament, the representatives of the member parliaments will come down here. You see they have put, I think, there are a couple of transparent ballot boxes here. They will come and cast their ballots in there. I don't know if they have distributed the ballot papers to you. They have distributed the ballot papers. If not, this will be done very soon. If you do have any questions regarding the ballot papers, please let us know. And once you have filled out your ballot paper, you will proceed to these boxes, therefore, to place your ballot in the box in the presence of the tellers who have been identified by the President earlier. As I said, the samples of the ballot papers will be posted, I think, on the screen there. And in accordance with Rule 32 of the Governing Council rules, the results of secret ballots shall be ascertained by 2 tellers. I've just mentioned that, and they have been appointed by you. At least you have endorsed the nominations announced by the President. Once all the votes have been cast, the two tellers, that is Speaker Andujar from Uruguay and Ms. Eriksson from Sweden, will go with a personal representative of each of the candidates, and they have been announced to you here for all 4 candidates. They have designated their representatives, and there will be 3 members of the IPU Secretariat, my colleagues, who will proceed to a room together within this building. The tellers and members of the Secretariat will count the votes while the representatives of the candidates will observe the process. Only valid votes will be counted. Only valid votes will be counted. The Governing Council will elect the candidate having received an absolute majority of the votes cast, as per Rule 35(1)(b) of the Governing Council rules, that is 50% of the valid votes plus one vote. If none of the candidates received the required majority in the first round of voting, the candidate who received the fewest number of votes will be eliminated and a new round of voting held until such time as a candidate obtains an absolute majority of the votes cast. I understand that this procedure has been explained to all four candidates, and we have not received any reservations or opposition to the process as outlined. This process is very much in line, in compliance with the statutory provisions relating to the election of IPU President. So, Mr. President, if there are no observations from the floor, you may now proceed to inviting the candidates to make the introductions as foreseen in the process for the election of the President. Thank you.
Thank you. I will just ask your attention to the point that we don't know if we need a second round or a first round. So please, until we have the elected president, if you wish to vote, you need to maintain in our session. Because if you leave, maybe we will have a second round and you will not vote because you are absent. Please try to wait if you need to go to other meetings for the results of the first round before you decide to go. All the candidates make different presentations during the last days and weeks. They met all the geopolitical groups. They met the Forum of Women Parliamentarians, the Forum of Young Parliamentarians. Yesterday we had a debate with a very huge participation of members of Parliament. They distribute a lot of messages, so everyone knows the candidates. But for a final presentation before we begin the process, we will give the floor to the four candidates for 5 minutes, and I ask them the favor to respect it. The first one, and I ask the camera to show the same respect to all the four candidates. They should have the same opportunity to expose their ideas and their program. So the first one is Mrs. Kanoté, Madame Mergan Kanoté from Senegal. Where is Madame Kanoté? It's here. Just a second, Madame Kanoté, just un moment, s'il vous plaît. Nous sommes ensayés pour avoir le temps. OK, c'est bon. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, President. President, I'd like to congratulate you on the excellent work that you have done at the head of the IPU during your term of office, and I'd like to commend the Secretary General on his wonderful work, the work underway ever since he was elected Secretary General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. May I greet all the other officers. President, dear colleagues, I am Adji Diarra Mergani Kaounté, an MP from Senegal. I was elected in 2017 up to 2022, and then I got a second term of office, which runs until 27. I am the Vice President of the Parliamentary Group of the Presidential Party. I'm specialized in institutional communications and the follow-up and evaluation of projects. When it comes to the Inter-Parliamentary Union, dear colleagues, I think governance is of paramount importance. I have been a member of the Executive Committee. I have been a member of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians, a member of the Committee on Finance, the member of the Gender Partnership Group, and I'm the outgoing vice chair of the Executive Committee. With the Executive Committee and the Governing Council, through this experience, I have seen that we really could work on the strategy of the IPU. I will respect the ideals of the founding fathers of the IPU, parliaments for peace, parliamentary diplomacy for dialogue. I fully espouse the values and the principles of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. I am passionately interested in the IPU, and I'm convinced that I am the right woman for the job in order really to be the standard bearer of the IPU. I have the time, I have the requisite energy to devote myself exclusively to the IPU. In the past, there were speakers of parliament who ran the IPU, but now we're in a very fast-moving world where we need more energy, more commitment. We have to go fast. I'm not a speaker of parliament, and there's no time for a learning curve. The term only lasts for 3 years, but I am already the outgoing vice president, and I can share my experience of governance. We held general discussions on democracy, and the IPU embodies democracy for all. This conference, the Conference on Democracy, makes it possible to listen to the population, see what they think and feel. That's what people in government must do in order to know what to change. We need thus to have an impact on the population through our activities. People must lie at the heart of all our action. We need fully to implement our decisions and resolutions within the IPU. We have taken major decisions, but on the whole, they are not really implemented in our national parliaments. Through our national parliaments, we shall try together truly to work towards the implementation of these resolutions. We will also work together in order to have more regional offices of the IPU. That will bring the IPU closer to people. We have a regional office already in Uruguay and in Africa, in Egypt, and we will reinforce the activity of these regional offices. We shall also work together in order better to strengthen the group on transparency. I have been a member of the Executive Committee. I have been a member of the committees on transparency and accountability, and we will ensure this group has the requisite means to be able to do its work properly. Also, religious tolerance, that's very important. Parliamentary diplomacy brings the populations of the world together, and we must live in a world of love and peace. That's what really counts. We condemn any form of violence. Also, Mr. President, and that is very important, we must revise our statutes in order to take account of certain concerns expressed by geopolitical groups. President, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Caroté, pour votre présentation.
Thank you, Ms. Canute, for that presentation.
Allow to make her presentation. Please, Madame, you have the floor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. Thank you for allowing me time to come and present to you my ambition to be the next IPU president. Before I lay out my visions, let me start by thanking the outgoing president, Mr. Pacheco, for his exemplary leadership in the past 3 years. My name is Catherine Gotani Hara. the first female speaker in Malawi. I am qualified political scientist with 15 years of experience serving as a cabinet minister in environment, climate change, health, gender, and community development. These roles speak to the key strategic objectives of the IPU, namely climate change, inequality, insecurity, social injustice, global health, and democratic governance. Therefore, I have an excellent understanding of how I can guide the IPU in delivering its strategic plan. However, strategic plans are excellent for delivering with long-standing and longer-term issues like this. But they need to be complemented by initiatives that are more effective for dealing with emerging and urgent issues. As you know, the world today is struggling, and it has been in a state of payment crisis for the last 2 years. This is due to geopolitical tensions, wars, COVID, high cost of living, inequality, and most worrying, people have lost faith in us as politicians and the institutions that we represent to solve their problems. I say we can do better. Can we say ordinary people know what the IPU is, what we stand for? I say we can communicate the business of the IPU to the world better. Yesterday, I put forward my vision and what I intend to achieve if elected. My 5-point plan in that vision is: 1, re-energize the IPU to make its presence felt on the globe by ordinary people. This could be done through introducing regional assemblies, building regional offices, and creating stronger engagements with global and regional bodies such as the UN, World Bank, IMF, African Union, Arab League, the EU, the South American Union, ASEAN, and others. 2, make the IPU a responsive institution, both in normal times and emergencies. What do I mean by this? I will give you an example. Imagine that you are on a journey from point A to B. You normally plan and you know what time you get there. However, along the way, you meet a hit-and-run victim who is dying. What would you do? Would you stick to your plan to get there on time, or would you stop and react to the emergency? A good citizen would stop, and that's why I am proposing that the IPU should have an equivalent of the Security Council, just like in the UN. We need a body that can react to issues emerging there and then. We have people dying. We have people who are distressed. We can't wait when we meet in 6 months to discuss emerging issues. We need a body that can react as and when problems emerge in this world. This is exactly how the IPU should operate. It must have the strategic plan for longer-term guidance, but it must also respond to global emergencies spontaneously. 3, enhancing the roles and mandate of geopolitical groups by ensuring that they hold geopolitical assemblies to feed into the IPU General Assembly. 4, work towards bringing lasting peace in war-torn areas. This can be done through parliamentary diplomacy. 5, championing the introduction and adoption of model laws on climate change, gender, disability, and the youth. My mission would be to work towards a new IPU which is more proactive and effective in its pronouncements through the General Assembly. Mr. President, I'm aware that Gululak would want to see an enhanced cooperation between regions. I know that Africa would like to have a more amplified global voice and to end ongoing economic stress. I know the Asia-Pacific region is interested in strengthening parliamentary democracy and environment. For 12+1 group, I know issues of human rights, peace, economy dominate their agenda. From the Arab world, I know the issues to do with peace, coexistence in the Middle East, and Islamophobia are sticking points. I know that the Eurasia region, peace, trade, and environment are some of the topical issues taking center stage. To all 6 geopolitical groups, I say, in me, Catherine Gotani-Hara, as your president, you have my commitment to work with you towards achieving your ambitions.
Please,
and therefore,
Madam.
Mr. President, if members want a leader who is visionary, fearless, determined, dynamic, and decisive, then look no further. Catherine Gotani-Hara is your candidate. Vote for me. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado. Gracias. Shukran. Shenshe. Thank you.
Now, thank you, Mrs. Hara. And now I will give the floor to Mrs. Tulia Axon. The same 5 minutes, same 30 seconds of tolerance.
Honorable Duarte Pacheco, President of the IPU, Martin Chugong, Secretary General, colleagues and friends. Yesterday, I had the honor of presenting myself to the General Assembly of the IPU. It was an invaluable opportunity where the General Assembly was able to get to know me and what I stand for. I used that occasion to highlight to the Assembly some of my priorities in case I was given the privilege to serve at the helm of our esteemed institution. Some of these are transparency and accountability, ensuring peaceful coexistence and global prosperity, effective participation and the representation of geopolitical groups in the organs of the IPU, inclusion, equitable representation in national parliaments, particularly for women, youth, and underrepresented groups. All these aim at striving for an inclusive, sustainable, and peaceful world. Dear colleagues and friends, today I would like to go a step further in elaborating further how I will go about steering our organization if elected. In addition to the priorities that I presented to the General Assembly, my leadership will strictly adhere to the current IPU strategy of 2022-2026. I am delighted to have been part of the initial implementation of this strategy in my capacity as President of the Africa Geopolitical Group since October 2022. If I may recap some aspects, the strategy seeks to achieve the following 5 objectives: building effective and empowered parliaments, promoting inclusive and representative parliaments, supporting resilient and innovative parliaments, catalyzing collective parliamentary action, and strengthening the IPU's accountability. The above mentioned objectives coincide with 5 significant trends that will continue to shape the global agenda over the coming years. These are, first, the global existential threat of climate change and the growing social and economic inequalities, including an increasing digital divide exacerbated by the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, weakening public trust in national and global institutions of governance, and increasing threats to parliaments and their ability to serve their constituency effectively. Regression on key democratic human rights and development achievements, growing threats to peace and security, and people's yearning for a more peaceful and secure world. Dear colleagues and friends, in view of these, therefore, my vision for the IPU revolves around 3 fundamental pillars: collaboration, inclusivity, and progress. I will prioritize building solid and dynamic partnerships with international organizations, governments, civil society, and private sector to achieve these ambitious goals. Collaboration and coordination are essential to effecting meaningful change and ensuring the success of our collective endeavors. Dear colleagues and friends, I am humbled to stand before you today, my candidature having been endorsed by the East African Community, Southern African Development Community, and the African Union. Asking for your mandate to lead this auspicious, incredible institution, a platform that was created by our founding fathers, Kramer and Percy, and the mothers, women who were behind them, though today, women and men work beside one another. As I stand here, I'm an immediate Vice President of Africa Geopolitical Group, Speaker of the National Assembly of the United Republic of Tanzania, having served as Deputy Speaker for 7 years, and also having served as Deputy Attorney General of the United Republic of Tanzania. As I stand before you today, I look back while pondering, what will your vote mean? Not only to me, but to the women and girls out there. I stand before you today as Speaker of my country, only the second woman to hold this position since our country attained independence, more than 60 years ago. Your esteemed vote will go a long way to advance gender equality and motivate other institutions to invest more in women.
Please, Madam.
Colleagues and friends, vote for Tulia for reforms and inclusivity in the structures of the IPU. Vote for Tulia for climate action. Vote for Tulia for human rights and peaceful coexistence. Vote for Tulia for ethical use of artificial intelligence. Vote for Tulia for democracy.
Please,
for everyone.
And now I will give the floor to Mrs. Agi from Somalia. Five minutes, same 30 seconds of tolerance.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President. So good morning, and I would like to, good morning, speakers, honorable, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have gathered here to select the best candidate for the position of IPU President. I firmly believe that you will find me to be the right choice, and here is why. The IPU and its mission existed for members of parliaments. Therefore, I committed to listening to your voices, making the effort to meet with you personally, and tirelessly advocate for your needs. This is not just a duty, but a passion. A calling ensure your interests are promoted to be the best ability. I promise, you will never regret entrusting me with this responsibility, giving my credibility and in-depth knowledge to the IPU. Today, your vote will make a history as you will be electing the first African woman to lead the IPU President as a president for the next 3 years. Isn't that a cause for joy? Yes, indeed. We all know that what IPU does, and you will need the best president who can dedicate her time to fostering global peace, democracy, and cooperation by empowering parliaments. And this must be pursued without hesitation. You need me because in my mission, someone with no other agenda but to serve. Let me remind you that I am just a member of parliament. I understand your needs, and I will champion to accomplish your priorities. If you elect me today, I will approach this responsibility with high level and ready to act in your best interest. I am here for you for the next 3 years, which means I will tirelessly listen to you and act on your priorities. I promise again that your voice will not just be heard, but cherished. The reason is simple. We stand for human rights, gender equality, sustainable development, and international collaboration to address urgent global challenges. From climate change to conflicts, women's issues, youth participation, poverty, and all other work that IPU diligently carries out. I am truly committed to advancing the global of the IPU and well-being of its constituency. Accountability and transparency will be core of principle of my presidency. The future of the IPU on our collective vision and efforts once again, I pledge to work tirelessly to make that vision a reality. And all I need is your vote. I would like to bring your kind attention that voting for Marwa means vote for new ideas. You voting for new ideas. Vote for women that rise from voting for women that rises from environment that neglect women's leadership. Vote for hope. Vote for democracy. Also, this woman that you are voting, her words, this woman that you are voting for her words and her action match. She don't have any hidden agenda. She always transparent, and you will see her that she is a crystal clear. Finally, vote for me and believe in you. I salute you and thank you for your attention, for listening to me. And I'm counting on your votes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zara. So, a special word for the 4 candidates. I will repeat what I said yesterday. You are doing a great favor to the IPU, showing your availability and capacity to work with this organization is already a mission, and so thank you for your commitment with our organization. And now we will begin the vote. 3 points that I will ask the tellers to come here, please. The observers from all the candidates. And I will ask a special favor to our journalists. It is impossible to have cameras near the boxes because people need to be available to vote in a secret bullet without a camera point inside. So please. And it's necessary also to have the corridors free to movements. Otherwise, we will complicate the process. Please, all the corridors, the entrance as well, because our colleagues that will come from the balcony, and so we need to have capacity to have movements without losing time. And now we will begin by alphabetic order. I will give the floor to Ambassador Ana Philip, that has the task to call all of you to vote. The tellers are here, the observers from the candidates as well. I just see Mrs. Esther. Or here, the first round. If the other observers from the other wish to come to the first to the first round, and this way you can observe all the process, and if you identify something that you need to reclaim from the other candidates as well. We wish to give the same conditions to all. Okay, okay. So, please, Ambassador Philip, the other observers from the other candidates, I just see two. If you are inside the room, of course, it is not one obligation, but if you are inside the room, we should begin. Okay, Ambassador De Philip, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and good morning to the distinguished delegates. We are ready to begin the secret ballot. As a reminder, I will be calling each delegation in alphabetical order. According to the statutes and rules, each member of the IPU shall be represented on the Governing Council by 3 parliamentarians, provided that its representation includes both men and women. Single-gender delegations will only be entitled to 1 vote, and only parliamentarians may cast the vote, so only MPs physically in the room can come down to cast their votes. I have my colleagues in the front of the room. Again, as Mr. President was saying, we would kindly ask that the aisles be kept clear. You will be invited to one of the 2 voting stations on the left and the right, where you will receive the ballot paper. On the paper, you will have the names of the 4 candidates in the order in which these were received. You will check one of the boxes and then proceed to the urn where we have our 2 tellers, Speaker Andujar and Ms. Eriksson, and you will place the ballot paper in the urn. So we will start with Zambia, which is entitled to 3 MPs, and we would invite you to the first urn on your left. We will continue with Albania, which is entitled to 1 vote. If you go to the urn, please, on your side of the room, on your right. Algeria. May we please ask the photographers, please move away from the stage. Thank you. Algeria, we would invite you also to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side. Algeria, 3 votes, if you are 3 MPs, please. Andorra, may I invite to the left-hand side, please, 3 MPs. Angola, Madam Speaker, on the left-hand side, please, here. Argentina, 1 vote. you are invited to the right-hand side. I'm sorry, I cannot change the vote. I cannot. No, we cannot interrupt the vote. We kindly ask you to wait 10 more minutes. We continue with Armenia. Armenia, 3 votes. If you can come to the left-hand side. Australia, 3 votes. If you could go to your right-hand side, thank you. Austria, 3 votes. Please proceed to your left-hand side. Austria, 3 votes. Austria, I understand there's only 1 MP, 1 vote, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We continue with Azerbaijan, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, please, Azerbaijan. Thank you. Bahamas, you are entitled to 3 votes. If you can come to your left, please. 1 MP, 1 vote, please. Thank you. Distinguished delegates, we have a special request from our president due to a delegation that is rushing to the airport. I am inviting Yemen with 1 vote to proceed to vote. We continue with Bahrain, 3 votes on your right-hand side. Bahrain, please. Thank you. Bahrain, 3 votes. Thank you. Bangladesh, 3 votes. If you can come to the urn on your left-hand side. Bangladesh. Bangladesh, 1 MP, 1 vote, please. Belarus, if you have 2 MPs, you may come and vote on the left-hand side, please. Belarus, 1 MP. Belgium, 3 votes. On your left-hand side, please. Benin, 3 votes. Benin, vous pouvez venir, s'il vous plaît, à la droite, votre droite. Yes, yes. Okay. We have another request from Qatar. Qatar, one vote, please. Your delegate may proceed. We continue with Bolivia. 3 votes, Bolivia, on your right-hand side, a la derecha. Botswana, 3 votes. You may come here to the left. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Brazil, you have 3 votes. Please proceed to your right-hand side. Bulgaria, 2 votes. Bulgaria, please, 2 votes on the right-hand side. I see there's space there. Burkina Faso, 3 votes. Please come to the left-hand side, to the urn here. Can you tell this gentleman here? Again, please, we really need people who have already voted, if you could please clear the aisles. We cannot have groups of people. Sir, please. And again, please, no taking pictures and no filming in the area of the voting booths. Thank you. Burundi, 3 votes. You may come to the urn on the left-hand side, Burundi. Cabo Verde, 3 votes. Cabo Verde, you may go to the other side on the right-hand side. 3 votes. Cambodia, 3 votes on the left-hand side. Cambodia. Cameroon may prepare. Cameroon, 3 votes on the right-hand side, please, at the far end. Canada, 3 votes. Please come down on your right-hand side. Chad has 2 votes. Please come down on the left. Chad, 2 voix, s'il vous plaît, à cette côté. 2 voix. Chad, vous n'avez pas enregistré des femmes.
Chad, you didn't register.
To check. I will ask my colleagues to check, and we will come back to Chad. Chad, I see only 2 MPs in the room. I only see 2 MPs. Okay, I'm asking my colleagues if Sally Ann can check. According to our records, Chad has a single-sex delegation, and I see there's a lady MP in the room. Okay, Chad, thank you for your understanding. I confirm that 3 persons can vote. Je confirme, les 3 parlementaires peuvent venir pour voter. Je vous remercie.
Thank you.
Chile, 3 votes. Chile, can we ask you to come on the left-hand side? Thank you very much, Chile. And after Chile, we continue with China. Please, 3 votes. Maybe it's easier if you come on this side, on the left-hand side. Excuse me, can we please leave the aisles open? Côte d'Ivoire, s'il vous plaît, si vous pouvez passer à la droite, 3 parlementaires, s'il vous plaît. Côte d'Ivoire, 3 voix. We have another request from Palestine that is leaving to catch a flight. So Palestine, 2 votes. Palestine, 2 MPs may come down to vote. We continue with Croatia, 2 votes. On the left-hand side, please. I'm sorry. No. It's coming up very soon, okay? Okay. Cuba, 3 votes, please. Here at the voting station closest to you. Thank you, Cuba. Czech Republic, 3 votes, please. Thank you. Yes. We cannot, we're continuing. It'll go fast, okay? DRC. It's very difficult. DRC, 3 votes, please. If you can come to the left-hand side, s'il vous plaît. République démocratique de Congo, 3 voix. Denmark, 3 votes. On the other side, please. On your right. Now. Okay. I thank everyone for your understanding. We are being informed as we go along that there are delegations that have flights at 1:30 p.m. I would invite the distinguished speaker of Tuvalu, 1 vote, to proceed to the front of the row. Tuvalu. I would also invite the Republic of Korea with 2 votes. Republic of Korea, 2 votes. And the last request from Turkey, 3 votes, Turkey. On the other side of the room, Turkey, if you can come down. After which we continue with Djibouti. Djibouti, 3 votes. Djibouti, yes. If you can come on this side of the room, please. Thank you. Dominican Republic, 1 vote on the left-hand side. Egypt, 3 votes. On your right-hand side, Egypt, thank you. Equatorial Guinea, 3 votes. Equatorial Guinea, if you could come down on the left-hand side here. Equatorial Guinea, you can come here. We have space here, please. Estonia, 3 votes. You can also come down to the left-hand side. Estonia, 3 votes. Ethiopia, 1 vote. On the right-hand side, Ethiopia, 1 MP. Fiji, 3 MPs on the right-hand side, the far end. Finland, 3 votes. Finland, you can come down on the left-hand side. La France, vous avez 3 voix.
France, you have 3 votes.
À votre droite, s'il vous plaît.
Could you please come down to the right-hand side?
After the vote, please. Okay, we have taken note of the request, sir. Sir, I'm responding to you, sir. We have taken note that we should go a little bit more slowly. Thank you. We've taken good note of that. Nous allons continuer avec le...
Now we'll continue with Gabon.
Gabon, vous avez...
Gabon, you have 3 votes. Could you please come down to the left-hand side to vote?
Gambia, you have 3 votes. Gambia, if you can come on your left-hand side. Thank you. Gambia. Georgia, 3 votes. You may come down on the left-hand side. Gambia, you can go on the other side. Gambia, de l'autre côté, s'il vous plaît. Oui. Followed by Georgia on the left-hand side. Germany, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, please, Germany. Ghana, 3 votes, please. On the right-hand side, Ghana. Greece, 1 vote. Guinea, 3 votes. On the right-hand side, please, Guinea. Tonga, I haven't called Tonga. Guinea-Bissau, 3 votes, please. Guinea-Bissau, if you can go to the right-hand side. Or there's space here. You can go to this one on the left, Guinea-Bissau. Guyana, 3 votes. Hungary, 3 votes. You can go to the right-hand side, please, where there's nobody. And Iceland as well, 1 vote. If you could go to the right-hand side, Iceland. India, 3 votes. On the right-hand side, please, India. Please. Please do not assemble, sir. Please do not assemble in the front of the room. India, thank you, 3 votes, followed by Indonesia, 3 votes. If you can come down on the left-hand side, Indonesia. Indonesia, you may go on the right-hand side. I see there's nobody there. I will ask Iran to prepare 3 votes, 3 MPs. You may come to the left-hand side. Iraq, 3 votes. Iraq, you may go to the right-hand side, please. Followed by Ireland, 3 votes. Sirs, excuse me, we cannot be taking pictures during the vote. Once you have voted, please kindly return to your seats. There is absolutely no need for the staff to come down. Please, only the MPs with voting rights are invited to come down to cast their votes. Thank you. So we have Ireland coming down, 3 votes. Thank you. Followed by Italy, 3 votes. On the far right side, Italy. Japan, 3 votes. Please come down, left-hand side, Japan. Kenya, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, Kenya, if you can come here. Kuwait, 1 vote. Please come down. Lao, 1 vote. 1 MP may come down from Lao. Latvia, 1 person, please. Latvia. I also see the delegation of Tonga, 2 votes, Tonga. Okay, please over here. Salian, Tonga. Lesotho, 1 vote. Please come down to the front of the room. On the right-hand side. Libya, 3 votes. Please come down the left-hand side, Libya. Liechtenstein, 2 votes. Lithuania, 1 vote. On the far right, Lithuania. Malawi, 3 votes. On the left-hand side. The gentleman with the camera who is standing in the aisle, can you please move away? Please keep the aisles open. Please stand away from the aisles. Delegations are coming down. Thank you. Malaysia, 3 votes. Please come down to the right-hand side, Malaysia. Maldives, 1 vote to the left-hand side, Maldives. Mali, 3 votes, please. Mali, à la droite extrême. Merci beaucoup. Malta, 1 vote on the left-hand side. Juan de Dios. Excuse me, we need to keep the aisles open. Yes, please, they should not be standing in the aisles. Mauritius, 3 votes. Please come down to the right-hand side. Mauritius. followed by Mexico with 3 votes. Mexico, you can also go on the far right side. Monaco, 2 votes. On the right-hand side, Monaco. Morocco, 3 votes. Le Maroc. À l'urne de la droite, s'il vous plaît.
The right-hand urn, please.
Le Mozambique, 3 voix.
Mozambique, 3 votes. The right-hand urn, please, Mozambique.
3 votes for Mozambique. Mozambique, you may go to the other side, over there. Namibia, 3 votes. Thank you, Namibia. On the left-hand side, please. Another 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. Nepal, 3 votes. You may come down on the left-hand side, Nepal. Thank you. Followed by the Netherlands with 2 votes. On the right-hand side, Netherlands. I called them. They had a flight, yeah. After Nepal, Netherlands, 2 votes, followed by Nigeria, 3 votes. Nigeria, please come down on the left-hand side. Nigeria. Norway, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, Norway, please. Norway is followed by Oman with 3 votes. Oman, on the left-hand side, you can come down. Pakistan, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, if you can come down here, Pakistan, please. Palestine has voted. We continue with Peru with 1 vote. Peru, you can go on the far right, please. Poland as well. Poland, 1 vote. Portugal, 3 votes. On the left-hand side, please, Portugal. Romania, 2 votes, please. On the right-hand side, Romania. If we can continue, please, we will continue with the Russian Federation. 3 votes on the right-hand side, Russian Federation. Followed by Rwanda, 2 delegates, Rwanda, on the left-hand side. The delegates that are in the galleries, you may wish to come down already, and we would kindly ask that you wait on the side of the room until your country name is called. We are getting to you very, very soon. We are continuing with the delegates in the back of this room, São Tomé and Príncipe. São Tomé, you have 3 votes. You may come down. Saudi Arabia, 3 votes. If you can come to the left-hand side, Saudi Arabia. Salian, are the delegates coming from upstairs? Have you seen Saudi Arabia? Have you seen Saudi Arabia? They're not right up from Somalia. Okay. Senegal, 3 votes. You may come down. 3 votes for Senegal. Serbia, 3 votes. If you could go to the right-hand side, Serbia, please. After Serbia, we have Seychelles with 3 votes. Seychelles, you may come to the right-hand side of the room. Sierra Leone, 1 MP, you are welcome to come down. Sierra Leone, 1 vote. Slovenia, 2 votes. Please come down, Slovenia. We are ready to take the votes from Somalia. Somalia, please, 3 votes. You're here. Thank you. Salian? They can vote here. No, coming up right now. Yeah. Do we have some South Africa in the room now? South Africa? South Africa has 3 votes. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. After South Africa, we have South Sudan, 3 votes. South Sudan, 3 votes, please. South Sudan is followed by Spain with 3 votes, please. I think there's more space on the other side on the right. After Spain, we have Sri Lanka with 3 votes. On the far right side, Sri Lanka, please. Suriname, 3 votes. On the right-hand side, Suriname, please. Or right over here. Yeah, thank you. And then we have Sweden. Sweden, you can go also, yeah. There's space on the right-hand side if you wish, Sweden. After Sweden, we have Switzerland with 3 votes. Switzerland. La Suisse, c'est bien là-bas, vous pouvez...
Switzerland, you can vote over there. My colleagues are waiting.
Syria, 3 votes. Do we have Syria in the room? If there are delegates waiting over there to vote, you can come on the other side of the room so that we can move this along. Thank you. Syria, you can come on this side of the room. Syria, you can come here. Thank you. Yeah, I have. Thailand. Do we have Thailand in the room? 3 votes for Thailand, please. Thank you. After Thailand, we have Timor-Leste with 3 votes. Timor-Leste, you can come on my side of the room here. Thank you, Timor-Leste. You may get your ballot papers here. After Timor-Leste, we will move on to Uganda. Uganda has 3 votes on the left-hand side. Uganda, you can vote here. I see the delegation of Ukraine. You may come and vote. 3 votes, please. Over there, yes, my colleagues. United Arab Emirates, you may come on the left-hand side, on my side here. United Arab Emirates, thank you. 3 votes. After the UAE, we have the United Kingdom with 3 votes. The United Kingdom may proceed. On that side there, I think it's fine. To be followed by the United Republic of Tanzania. If Tanzania can come on this side of the room. Do we have Tanzania in the room? Yes, thank you. Followed by Uruguay. Uruguay, 1 vote. Please proceed to my colleagues. Uzbekistan, 1 vote. And the last delegation that I have on my list is Vietnam with 3 votes. We are having the last delegations that are casting their vote. I see Uzbekistan. Has everyone voted there? I see one more delegation is casting its vote. So now I am going to ask if all the delegations have had the opportunity to cast their votes. We have called all the delegations by name. I believe that all the delegations that are present today in the plenary hall have voted. And as I do not see any other requests, Mr. Secretary General, I believe that the vote can be declared closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Philip. It's been an arduous task. Thank you for performing it on our behalf. The President has just stepped out and we're trying to locate him, but I can, if you do agree, now declare that voting is now closed. If there's no objection, we can close the voting and proceed immediately to the counting of the ballots as foreseen by the process, which means that the two tellers, the 4 observers of the candidates, and the 3 members of the IPU Secretarial will now retire to a room that has been set aside for this purpose and proceed with the counting of the votes. When their work is completed, they will report back to the IPU President, who will be pleased to announce the results of the vote. So I believe that you all agree that this is how we're going to proceed henceforth. Thank you very much. I take it that you agree. I believe the President is on his way. Sharon, is he coming? Okay. Can you bear with us 2-3 minutes and he can come and resume the proceedings of the Council while the votes are being counted? honorable members, while we await the return of the President, Governing Council may wish to take up some items that do not require formal decisions from you. And if you do agree, then we can proceed with the item on a report from the task force on the peaceful resolution of the war in Ukraine. If you do agree, therefore, I have the pleasure of inviting Speaker Katjavivi from Namibia, who is Vice President of that task force, to present to you a report on the deliberations of the task force. Speaker Katjavivi, are you around? Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to provide an oral report on the activities of the IPU task force on the peaceful resolution on the war in Ukraine. This is since March 2023. During these past 6 months, we have passed since our previous assembly in March 2023 in Manama. The task force has been meeting on a regular basis to examine developments, maintain communication with the two parliamentary delegations of Ukraine and Russian Federation, and try to develop a roadmap on the next steps that we can work on together with the parties concerned. We deplore the fact that the war is raging on with countless victims on both sides, and we have continued to advocate for a peaceful and for the return to negotiating table. In the interim, we are seeking to engage in parliamentary diplomacy and to focus on small steps which can eventually lead to dialogue and better understanding. In particular, we have identified a few humanitarian issues to focus our efforts on, and they are, I will list them: nuclear safety, food security, access to and exchange of and treatment of prisoners of war, protection of ecologically dangerous sites, and fifth, the situation of children affected by the conflict, particularly in the context of the population displacements. Any progress in these areas could result in a small win that builds confidence and constitutes small steps towards the peaceful resolution of the war in Ukraine. Even if peace talks are not a possibility right now, a lot can be done to alleviate human suffering. So, for the time being, that is our focus, to alleviate human suffering and achieve small wins that can be stepping stones towards a bigger gains. We are parliamentarians, after all, so we are responsible for representing and protecting people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to go further with particular reference to our current meeting here in Luanda. The task force met in person during this 147th IPU Assembly and held hearings with both the delegation of Ukraine and that of the Russian Federation. We started by asking them, two of the delegation, two very simple questions. Question one, which of the 5 humanitarian issues that I mentioned earlier is more likely to elicit your Parliament's cooperation? That question one. Question two, how can the task force support you to achieve positive humanitarian outcomes in any of these 5 areas that I mentioned earlier? After productive discussions, the task force concluded that both delegations seemed most keen to engage on the issue of children. Henceforth, as a medium-term goal, the task force decided to focus its efforts and continued consultations with both delegations on that particular subject. The task force also agreed it should give itself more engagement options, such as conducting bilateral meetings between individual task force members and the warring parties. Each member brings to the table a unique set of connections and insights that hold potential to unlock new avenues for dialogue. To this end, we welcome the Speaker, Stephanie de Hoos of Belgium, as a new member of our task force, replacing the Honorable Arda Gekens of the Netherlands. We have started with a new additional member, and so far we are extremely delighted that we can continue our efforts as mandated by the IPU. In terms of the next steps, part of our discussions with the 2 delegations focused on the importance of meeting in person and between IPU assemblies. Both delegations agreed that extensive consultations in more favorable setting were required to make progress. We need a conducive environment that will help us to find each other so that we can address this critical issue in a much more meaningful way, given the support and cooperation from the both delegations of the 2 countries. As such, we very much hope that it will be possible to hold in-depth and in-person discussions with both delegations at the IPU headquarters in Geneva in early 2024. With the support of experts and specialized UN agencies that could be brought in to assist us in this important undertaking. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope to have some progress to report back to the Council at our next assembly in 2024. I conclude the oral presentation and hope for your understanding and support for this important assignment that has been given to us. We are willing to continue, but we need constant support for the entire membership of the IPU. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, the Vice President of the Task Force. I hereby that we acknowledge about the report. Any comment? Okay. We'll proceed to the next item, but before we do so, I'd like to know that I am sitting here on my capacity as the Vice President of the IPU until the President come back. And I'm not sure if he will come or not. Now, let's start with the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, which met extensively during this assembly. I'd like to give the floor to the Vice President of the Human Rights Committee. As it's customary for our assembly, delegations who would like to take the floor to briefly comment on cases in specific country are invited to do so immediately following the presentation of the draft decision for that country. These comments will be noted for the record, and if they certain clear opposition with regard of the specific decision will be marked as reservation on the first page of that decision, as well as being made available on a dedicated web page. Madam Vice President, the floor is yours. Ms. Odhiambo, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, dear parliamentary colleagues, I have the honor to present to you the report of the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians on the session held in Luanda. As usual, I will present the cases in alphabetical order per region. I will start with Africa, and just want to say that I am actually pleased to be presenting this report when Africa is presenting a president and a woman president. I will start with the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The committee examined several cases in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, including 3 new cases. I would like to thank the Congolese delegation for the information provided during its hearing with the committee and for its willingness to welcome a mission to the DRC after the presidential elections. The committee reviewed the new case of Mr. Cherubin Okende, an opposition member of parliament who was found shot in the head in his car. The committee is appalled at this murder, and in light of the information given during the hearing, we are confident that the means employed by the authorities to conduct the investigation will reveal in the coming weeks who is behind this crime. The committee also examined the case of Mr. Kabund, another opposition member of parliament. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison for criticizing the head of state. The committee is concerned at the severity of Mr. Kabund's sentence for exercising his right to freedom of expression. The committee calls on the authorities to strengthen the protection of this fundamental right by aligning the laws on offenses constituting defamation against the head of state with international human rights standards. Lastly, the committee examined the new cases of Mr. Sakanyi and Mr. Mushok-Bekwa, 2 parliamentarians whose parliamentary mandates were arbitrarily invalidated for absenteeism despite medical certificates explaining their absence. The committee takes note of the information submitted by the authorities and calls on the National Assembly to provide a copy of the report of the special committee tasked with reviewing cases of absenteeism. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 1 to 7 and 28 to 34 of the English version and French versions, respectively. I move to Eswatini.
Any comment related to this section of the report? No? Okay. The decision is adopted.
Thank you. Then I'll move to Eswatini. This concerns the case of 3 parliamentarians, 2 of whom have been in detention on various charges since July 2021, in the aftermath of protests calling for democratic reforms in Eswatini. On the 1st June this year, the judge in the case found them guilty of the most serious charges, but reserved sentencing for December, both men spending 20 years in prison. The findings of the IPU trial observer and our analysis of the verdict confirm earlier concerns that the criminal cases brought against the parliamentarians came in response to their actions to support political change. Indeed, our committee is convinced that both men should never have been prosecuted in the first place. We sincerely hope that the matter will still be resolved in a way that is in line with applicable human rights standards before the men are sentenced. At the same time, our committee remains keen to travel to Eswatini to discuss with the relevant authorities and other stakeholders the issues that have emerged in this case. We invite you to adopt draft decisions on pages 9 and 1 of the English and French versions, respectively.
And is there any reservation on this section? No? Adopted.
Thank you. I will therefore move to Senegal. The following draft decision concerns the case of Mr. Ousmane Sonko in Senegal. The committee sincerely thanks the Senegalese delegation for the productive hearing held during this assembly. It was reassured to learn that Mr. Sonko was receiving medical care. Nonetheless, it remains very concerned by Mr. Sonko's state of health. The committee also has concerns regarding the possibility that Mr. Sonko could be prevented from carrying out the necessary steps to validate his candidacy for the upcoming presidential election. The committee wishes to send a delegation to Senegal as soon as possible to visit Mr. Sonko in detention and to be able to settle this case in a satisfactory manner. We thank the Senegalese delegation for its assurances that it will cooperate in this regard. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 35 and 37 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No? Adopted.
Thank you. I will move to Zimbabwe. The committee thanks the Speaker of the National Assembly for the exchange it had with him during a hearing and for his assurance that an on-site mission to Zimbabwe is welcome. We look forward to receiving the details of the organization of such a mission as soon as possible. However, the committee is concerned by alarming reports about the rapidly deteriorating health of Mr. Job Sikala, a seasoned parliamentarian of the Citizens Coalition for Change opposition party, who has spent more than a year in a maximum security prison over a speech he made in June last year. You have before you the report of the IPU trial observer who attended some of the court proceedings in this case. His findings confirm allegations that Mr. Sikala's rights to a fair trial are being violated, including his right to bail. The observer highlighted several breaches of due process and concluded that there was no evidence to support the verdict that Mr. Sikala was guilty of obstructing the course of justice. The committee deplores the fact that the continued arbitrary detention of Mr. Sikala made it impossible for him to practically exercise his right to take part in the 23rd August elections. The committee urges the authorities to free Mr. Sikala at once and to ensure that all his rights are respected. The committee received a new complaint from 23 parliamentarians from the CCC or CCC party, claiming that speakers of both houses had revoked their mandates in an arbitrary manner. It alleges that the speakers acted on a fraudulent letter from an imposter claiming to act as the interim Secretary General of the CCC while ignoring all communications coming from the CCC parliamentarians. The committee believes that these 23 newly elected opposition parliamentarians should never have lost their seats in Parliament and calls on the authorities to consider modifying this procedure to ensure that all members of Parliament can carry out their mandate freely. We invite you to adopt the draft decisions on pages 43 to 46 and 45 to 48 of the English and French versions, respectively. Mr. President.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No. Adopted.
Thank you. I will move to Asia. I'll start with Myanmar. In Myanmar, 72 parliamentarians have been subjected to serious violations, including arbitrary arrest and detention, torture, and inhuman treatment following the military coup d'etat of 2021. Their situation is alarming, as all visits to the detained parliamentarians and their communication with the outside world have been banned for over a year. In addition, we are shocked to learn that 5 parliamentarians have lost their lives while avoiding arrest. We strongly condemn these crimes against our colleagues and once again urge the military authorities to release all parliamentarians immediately. We also reiterate our call to you and all our fellow parliamentarians to take action in solidarity with our colleagues in Myanmar, who all need our support. We request the IPU to take action to help put an end to impunity in this case. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 16 and 9 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No. Adopted.
Thank you. I will move to Pakistan. The committee thanks a member of the Pakistani delegation for the constructive exchange that took place during a hearing. However, the committee is deeply concerned by the deteriorating situation of opposition parliamentarians in Pakistan, as it has received a new complaint with allegations of arbitrary arrest and detention, inhumane treatment and violations of due process against 4 parliamentarians of the PTI party, including its chairperson, Mr. Imran Khan. The complaint also covers allegations concerning the case of Senator Swati of the PTI, who was forced to go into hiding to avoid further persecution. The committee is troubled by allegations that military and intelligence authorities use threats and acts of intimidation and infringe the right to privacy of PTI parliamentarians who remain loyal to their party or are critical to the authorities, and that such pressure ceases as soon as they change their affiliation. The committee urges the Pakistani authorities to ensure that crimes against their colleagues are not left unpunished, regardless of their affiliation, and to ensure that such cases do not recur. It also hopes to go to Pakistan urgently to meet all parties to make progress towards the resolution of the growing number of cases in the country. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 21 and 14 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No. Adopted.
Thank you. I will move to the Philippines. The committee is presenting to you draft decisions in 4 cases in the Philippines. Let me start with the positive news. In the cases of Mr. Ocampo and Mr. Trillanes, the doubtful legal action taken against them has finally been dismissed, which is why we are pleased to recommend that you close these cases. The situation is not very rosy, however, in the 2 remaining cases. Former Senator De Lima continues to linger in detention on drug charges, even though the prosecution's case has collapsed. Indeed, a full analysis of her situation shows convincingly that she was charged in response to her criticism of former President Duterte. We therefore renew our call on the Philippine authorities to release MS De Lima immediately. With regard to the last case, which concerns a current parliamentarian, MS Castro, and a former parliamentarian, MS Elago, both have been vilified or worse, threatened prominent figures within the political or military establishment. In fact, days ago, former President Duterte made it clear on TV that he thought that MS Castro should be killed. We are appalled that a former president makes these remarks, which can put MS Castro's life in real danger. We are pleased that the parliamentary authorities have quickly spoken out against this serious incident. We trust that they, along with the judicial authorities, will take all further steps that may be required. We invite you to adopt the draft decisions on pages 25 to 32 and 18 to 25 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No. Adopted.
Thank you. I will move to Sri Lanka. The committee presents to you a draft decision regarding the assassination of 4 Sri Lankan parliamentarians. They were murdered between 2005 and 2008 at a time when Sri Lanka was facing a civil war that pitted the government against a Tamil insurgency. The pursuit of justice has significantly advanced regarding 2 of these murders. However, this is not the case for the assassinations of Mr. Parara Jashigam and Mr. Rajirav, who both belong to the Tamil National Alliance. The committee is convinced that further steps can and should be taken to find and punish the culprits of these 2 murders. We believe that these steps should be part of a comprehensive approach by the Sri Lankan authorities, including Parliament, to put in place stronger mechanisms of accountability to address the serious crimes committed to Sri Lanka in the past. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 39 and 41 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Any reservation on this section of the report? No. Adopted.
Thank you. I'll move to the MENA region. I'll start with Iraq. The committee undertook its first mission to Iraq in August this year to promote a satisfactory resolution of the case of former Iraq parliamentarian Mr. Ahmed Al-Alwani. On behalf of the committee, I wish to warmly thank the Iraqi authorities, particularly the parliamentary authorities, for receiving the mission and facilitating its smooth conduct, including a meeting with Mr. Al-Alwani in person. The mission report that you have before you calls for the immediate release of Mr. Al-Alwani in light of the flawed legal proceedings and the abuses he suffered in the early stages of his detention, and urges the judicial authorities to lift the death sentence passed against him. The committee also calls on the Iraqi authorities to end impunity by immediately investigating Mr. Al-Alwani's allegations of torture and holding those responsible accountable. The committee will continue supporting the Iraqi authorities' efforts in promoting a satisfactory solution of Mr. Al-Alwani's case and hopes that he will be released soon. We invite you to adopt the draft decision on pages 13 and 6 of the English and French versions, respectively.
Thank you. I will ask the floor if you may adopt the recommendation. No opposition, no abstention. Then?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, dear colleagues from around the world, the cases I have referred to here are only some of the numerous cases before the committee. In view of the record-growing number of cases, we can see that being a parliamentarian can be truly dangerous. Unfortunately, this trend is apparent in all regions of the world. We count on your support to help your colleagues under threat. I thank you for your attention. Obrigada.
Thank you. The decisions were adopted. I will ask the Secretary General. We are now going to the, allow me, because I went out of the meeting of the Governing Council, to the elections, to the Human Rights of Parliamentarians Committee. And so we have 3 candidatures: Mrs. Rael from Switzerland, Mr. Wong of Malaysia, and Mrs. Brosas of the Philippines. I will ask the Secretary General, because I think we need to vote, but may you give us the process, how we should do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as announced today, there is one vacancy on the Committee on Human Rights of Parliamentarians, and Governing Council has to elect someone, a member of Parliament, to fill that vacancy. We have received 3 candidatures from Mrs. Fielman Real of Switzerland, Mr. Wong of Malaysia, and Ms. Brosas of the Philippines. So as you can see, we have 3 applications for 1 slot, and I do not know whether there has been any development since we prepared this note. Mr. President, in the event that the 3 candidates maintain their candidature, the Governing Council is required to proceed to a vote in order to decide on one of the candidates. And normally, the rules say that the Governing Council, for such cases, shall vote by show of hands. Unless someone asks for a roll call vote, or you, Mr. President, you decide to have that roll call vote. We would suggest, in view of the time that has transpired so far in the Governing Council, you may wish, Mr. President, to invite your colleagues to proceed to a vote by show of hands. And if that's the case, then my colleagues are on standby to do a counting of the delegates as they show their hands, members of the council as they show their hands, so that we can count those votes and proceed to taking a decision on who fills that slot on the Committee on Human Rights of Parliamentarians. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. So the first thing we needed to understand is that if the 3 candidates maintain the wish to run for this position, because otherwise, if you have just one, it's easier. So I will ask Switzerland if you maintain.
Yes, I would like to maintain my candidacy. Thank you.
Mr. Ong of Malaysia?
Yes, he is maintained as MP.
Thank you. And Mrs. Brosas of the Philippines? Okay, same. Okay, so we need to vote. It's easy, because when we have one vacancy and 1 candidate, it's easy by acclamation. But if we have 3 candidates for 1 position, we need to vote. Usually, when we are talking about, in these cases, with names of persons, we vote in a secret bull. Secretary General, by way of, because we are with a lack of time, asked to do it by hands. And so, I will try to identify if there is no opposition to do it this way. No opposition, so we will do it this way. I will put one name, and the people that vote in favor, raise your hands. The members of our staff will try to count. And then the second name and the third one. Just a second.
Excuse me, President. Here, Chile.
Chile.
Is it one vote per country or 3 votes per country? How is that going to be?
Okay, thank you. I will try to confirm it with the Secretary General.
Yeah, it's the same procedure as you did for the roll call vote.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, it's the same procedure as you did for the roll call vote. So delegates who have gender balanced or have gender inclusive delegations have 3 votes. Those that are just single gender delegation will be entitled to 1 vote. So my colleagues will be on the lookout for that. Thank you.
Point of order.
A point of order. Who is asking?
Seychelles.
Seychelles, please, you have the floor, sir.
I would also like to have a geographical balance. So if we could quickly confirm who are the other members on the committee, it would help us with the vote.
Thank you. Very pertinent question. Just a second. Just 1 second, please. We are asking to have the composition. Secretary General, please.
Thank you. I am informed by my colleague that the current composition of the committee is as follows: 3 representatives from Africa, 3 from Asia, and 4 from 12+. Is that correct, Rohier?
The chair of the committee?
Yes? I can't hear you, Rohier. Come down.
Asia, there's only 1 person right now. Not 3 from Asia right now. Mr. President, Asia is only 1 representative.
Okay, then we ask the formal list, and this way we will say the names, and it will be clear to everyone the composition. Allow me, just a second, please.
Asia currently only has 1 representative in the committee.
Now with all the information, we have 3 members from Africa, 3 members from the 12 plus, 2 members from Latin America, and 1 member from Asia. So it is the final and formal composition of this board. This way we answer the point of order raised by Seychelles, a very pertinent one, that help all of you to vote. Again, Mrs. Felman Riel of Switzerland, Mr. Wong of Malaysia, and Mrs. Brozas of the Philippines. So we will vote. Everyone are in condition. So first one, we will vote in favor, then second, last one. So, in favor of Mrs. Felman Riel of Switzerland, who is in favor, raise your hands, please. And I ask our members of our staff I remember 3 votes for country, unless there is just 1 gender, and this way we'll have just 1 vote. Here and up, I don't, as well. There are members of the IPU staff on the balcony, try to identify the votes. Please keep your hands raised until the members of the staff inform us that they did the contabilization of the votes. Is it okay? I am asking the members of the staff from this side. Yes, it's done. From this side, I see the message from our staff. From this side, not yet. And from the balcony, it's done as well. So balcony, you don't need to raise your hands. Just a second to finish from that side.
Demande de parole. Demande de parole, s'il vous plaît.
Could I have the floor, please?
I will give the floor after we finish the contabilization, try to avoid any kind of confusion. It's done this side as well. Is it? The middle is done as well, sorry. Just, it's okay? I am trying to identify one signal. It's done? Okay, so everyone can thank you. Now, we will put on the floor to vote to Mr. Wong of Malaysia. Who vote in favor, please raise your hands. And the members of the staff will do the contabilization. I'm asking if in the balcony it's done or not. Not yet. Okay, from this side it's done. From that side as well. In the middle as well. Thank you. I'm waiting for the balcony. Obrigado. Now, in the middle, you can rest. It's a good exercise, but balcony as well. It's done as well. Thank you. So everyone votes. Now, Mrs. Brosas of the Philippines. Who is in favor of Mrs. Brosas? May you raise your hands, please? Thank you. In the balcony, it's done. Thank you. On the floor, the register is done as well. I'm waiting for the information from our staff. From here, it's okay? And from there, I'm waiting the information that is contabilized. It's okay. So it's okay. Also, thank you for your efforts. Is it possible to have the results?
Who is giving us the results? Who is giving the results? I'm waiting for them to tally the votes.
Forum of Women report.
Yeah.
Okay, dear colleagues, they will take some minutes, if you allow me, because we try to go ahead. We can go to the point 14A, the Forum of Women Parliamentarians report. And for it, I will give the floor to Mrs. Cynthia Lopez Castro.
Yeah,
So,
the Mrs. Marquette. No, but they have to resolve. We have.
okay. So, we have all the results. It's easier to congratulate Mrs. Fellman for the election for the Bureau of the Rights of Parliamentarians with 73 votes, Mr. Ong has 49, and Mrs. Brosas 15. And so I congratulate Ms. Fellman, and I wish her a good work in this very important committee of IPU. Allow me, we should follow with different reports. But I understood that the team that was on the counting of the votes to the presidential election ended their work. And so I prefer to interrupt the reports, to give the results, and to understand if we need a second round or not. Because how we manage our work depends on that. If we have just one round, if we don't need a second one, after the announcement, we will ask the winner to use the floor, of course, to say some words. And I will ask all members that wish to congratulate the winner to do it maybe outside our assembly, because we need to go ahead with our agenda. And if you have a huge confusion inside the room, it will not be easy. And later on, we will not go home tonight. I'm waiting the results. I don't know if the candidates are in the room. All them? Okay. It's important to have all the candidates inside the room for a question of transparency. And we don't know who will be called if it's done. The tellers are here. Mrs. Erickson and the speaker Aldajur. Thank you for your task.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She winner in the first round. Okay. Absolute majority.
Dear colleagues, the figures that we obtain with representatives of all the candidates are the following. Number of bullets, 303. It means that the majority, absolute majority, was obtained with 152. The first candidate, Mrs. Canote, obtained 59 votes. The second one, Ms. Ara, obtained 61 votes. The fourth candidate, Ms. Agi, obtained 11 votes. The third candidate, Mrs. Tulia Axton, obtained 172 votes. So, in the middle while, I ask Thank you, dear colleagues. I am asking, now I need to declare elected Mrs. Tulia Axon as President of IPU. And I invite the new President, please, to come and to address the members of the Governing Council. And again, thank you to all the 4 candidates. It was very important to have more than 1 candidate. It was very important to have 4 women running for the presidency here in Africa. Thank you to all of them for the vision you did it also to the IPU and to the women in power in politics. And so, I will give the floor, and please, after it, if you wish to congratulate Mrs. Tulia, do it out of the room because you need to go ahead. Allow me to give the floor to Mrs. Tulia, first of all. Thank you, dear colleagues, please. You need to create conditions, especially the supporters of Mrs. Tulia, to give the opportunity to the new President address the Governing Council. Please create the conditions. It's a very important moment to the IPU, I believe to the Speaker Tulia as well, and so we need to give her all the conditions to do the statement she wishes to present us. Please, Madam President, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very humbled. Thank you so much. Honorable Duarte Pacheco, well, he's still president until he hands over. President of the IPU, and Martin Chugong, Secretary General, dear colleagues and friends, I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed with gratitude. Thank you for the confidence you have bestowed on me by electing me the IPU President. I accept this position with all humility, while recognizing all the responsibilities that come with it. I congratulate the outgoing President, Mr. Duarte Pacheco, and the IPU Secretariat for organizing a well-organized and coordinated 147th IPU Assembly in Luanda, Angola. I also thank Right Honorable Carolina Siqueira, Speaker of the National Assembly of Angola, for being a great host, and in particular, the choice of the venue of our meetings have been excellent. I am indebted to the unwavering support from my President, Honorable Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, which is represented here today by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Honorable January Makamba. Thank you so much for coming to represent Her Excellency. I dedicate special thanks to my campaign team, led by Right Honorable Speakers, Members of Parliament, and comrades from many countries worldwide, my fellow Members of Parliament from Tanzania, and the Secretariat of the National Assembly of Tanzania. I also acknowledge and congratulate my fellow contestants for a dignified campaign that we have all run. And before I conclude my speech, if you allow me, Mr. President, to request that the other candidates come forward as I conclude my speech.
Thank you, Madam. Very well.
Thank you. Can the candidates please come forward so that I thank you for what you have put into all this that has made me president today. Before I conclude, I reaffirm my commitment to work hand in hand with you all to make the IPU the most effective, accountable, and transparent organization. Now, the first candidate who is just coming up here is Malawi. Please come. Is Right Honorable Catherine Gotan Hara, Speaker of the National Assembly of Malawi. She has put a good fight, and it is her good fight that has made all of us here feel proud to be represented by me as your president. So, Right Honorable Catherine, thank you for the good fight that you have put, because it is that fight that makes all of us as IPU family to feel proud of our institution and to always feel like we can work together. So we will work together. I am sure you had good ideas of how the IPU should move forward. I will need those ideas so that we propel the IPU to greater heights. Thank you so much for putting up a good fight.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know if Senegal is already here.
It's coming.
Ah, she's coming. Okay, is Somalia already here? Okay, Senegal is coming. As she's coming, because I don't want to waste much of your time, Mr. President, let me also talk about her. She has also put in a good fight, which has brought us all here. We have had a chance to know most of you delegates. It's because of the fight that has been put forward by these very able women. If this fight wasn't there, we wouldn't probably have reached out to all of you the way we have done. So this is an opportunity as the IPU family to move forward together, having done this. So, Madam Kanute, thank you so much for putting up a good fight. I really appreciate it. I am sure you had a very good idea of how you can move the IPU. Now, we will be working together to make sure the IPU that you wished would. Me, as your sister, will make sure your ideas work as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Somalia is almost here. Thank you so much for putting up a good fight as well. And I believe the IPU family have had a chance to know these very able 4 women from the African continent. But since a chance was only for one, I have been elected to represent all of you. I am sure I'm going to make all of you proud, Somalia inclusive. Please come up here, and thank you for the good fight that you had put in. Thank you so much. You kept saying you have good ideas how to move the IPU further. Exactly. We will be consulting you so that we work together to make sure our IPU is a better place, but also it's a voice for everyone in the world. Thank you.
I'm so happy that East Africa is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. President, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'll finish by saying you are outgoing president, yes, but you will always remain the president of IPU. And under my leadership, I will be consulting you a lot because you have been there, and the rest of the presidents also who have been there. So I need your ideas to make sure IPU moves forward. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you so much for overseeing this election that has elected me as president of IPU. Thank you so much, Mr. Pacheco. Thank you so much, Mr. Duarte, my friend. Thank you. Now to you delegates, I started by saying I am humbled and overwhelmed by your support. Let me pledge to you, whatever it is that I said I will do for the IPU, I will do just that. Trust me. Now, without wasting much of your time, I would like to say thank you so much for bestowing upon me this honor. I take it with all humility. I will do justice to IPU. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado. Gracias. Shukran lak. Asante sana.
Thank you, Madam President. I wish you all the luck. We know your capacity of work and your competence. It is not easy, never, to a president of IPU, but I will wish you all the luck, and IPU as a great president, a woman from Africa. Congratulations, Madam. And now, we need to come back to our agenda. I knew that it is a very important moment. And so this way, I will ask Madam President if you can receive the congratulations in the corridor, because we need to go to the next report. I was calling on that moment when we received the information that is possible to announce. I received the information that is possible to present the report of the Forum of Women Parliamentarians. And so I will give the floor to Mrs. Malaquias from Angola to present the report. Again, I will ask the favor to our president, elected president, okay. Thank you, Martin. To our elected president, if it is possible, and I ask the escorts if they can help Madam President to be outside of a room to receive the compliments from the different delegations, because I wish to give the floor to Mrs. Malaquias.
I was in the bureau.
No, it's not you.
I don't know. Okay. Okay. Because someone told me and I was running.
In which it is here? Yeah, it is the order.
I understood that Mrs. Malaquias is not on the room. I will ask Mr. Laferrière, Chair of the Committee of Middle East, is present in the room.
No, I think there are two people presenting the role, Karim and Netherlands.
Neither is not present.
Mokhtar.
Otherwise, it's better to interrupt. It's 15 minutes. Okay, I understood. Sometimes we need to be practical. I think we don't have conditions to go ahead in this moment with the interventions of our colleagues, because it's a very important moment. We need to understand that everyone wishes to congratulate the elected president. And so we make one interruption for lunch, and we came back 2:30 sharp, please, otherwise we will be here for a long time. 2:30, and we have a break for lunch, and this way you have the opportunity also to congratulate the new president of IPU. Thank you.
Recording stopped.